Well, we're live anyway. All right, so we are live, episode 23, I believe.
Maps? Yes,
Yes,
23.
we're on episode 23. If you're just now joining us, Kathy had to go potty real quick, and so she'll be back in just a minute.
She
So,
doesn't have that bladder control like John does.
nope. So we're starting up. Other than that, welcome to everybody that's coming on. Today is the pre-ramble. Today we're going to be talking about what, John?
Conventions and stuff.
Today we're going to be talking about conventions. We're also going to be talking about do's and don'ts in conventions. We're also talking about conventions we're going to be doing. I have a special announcement, and we will also put in what we're going to be doing next week. But I think today, during the pre-ramble, I'll talk about what happened yesterday when I went to what's called the Shallow Slaughter.
Did you get slaughtered?
Actually, I didn't get slaughtered.
False advertising.
Yeah, I know. Well, what it is there's our local game store, Brian, T-shirt Explosion. So if you're ever in Northwest Arkansas, go there.
I've heard of T-shirt explosion.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Brian is an awesome store owner. He plays, so he gets it. And he always runs what's called Shallow Slaughter, and it's their Kings of War event. But we do like a small, like a Guild Ball and a Warmachine and Hordes tournament next to it. And I always like going there, and I like going early so I can see all the Kings of War armies. And theirs was some amazing. If you didn't see the pictures on our Facebook page, go check out some of the pictures on our Facebook page of the Kings of War stuff I posted. Some of that stuff was incredible. The one guy that had the frost base with or snow base and had all the beast models. I don't know. There were some of the Age of Sigmar beast models with the big old horns and stuff. Was an incredible paint job. So it was really, really interesting to watch. I'm getting into Kings of War, so that's what I'm going to be painting tonight. I'm going to be starting on my Abyssal Champions. And that's what we'll be watching me paint.
Are they Mantic, or are you proxying other models?
They're the Chaos Warriors from GW.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And before I paint them and before I start painting, I want to talk to you about my idea. Why am I getting into Kings of War? One, I've been looking for a regiment large-scale battle game that's fantasy. I have a 40k army, and I'm just waiting for my codex to come out.
Soon.
Yes, I'm waiting for my Tau codex. Yeah, pretty much it's my big stupid war game. I don't have to worry about all the 50 billion combo things like Warmachine and Hordes, because it's very simple and straightforward.
It's beer and pretzels.
Yeah, it's a beer and pretzel. You can still lose and still get really high ranked. One loss isn't going to kill you in a tournament. Plus, it's a really hobby aspect, and I'm using this to get my hobby back in. I don't like real world games. I don't like anything that's based in the real world.
No historicals.
No historical games at all. And it's just because, to tell you the truth, guys, I'm a vet, and some of that stuff, I'm like, yeah, no, I can deal without, real world stuff. So it's not that big of a deal. But like I'm getting Kings of War, I'm doing the Abyssals, and that's gonna be my hobby thing, which I did finish the base form. I'll show that off when we get to our painting area. What else? And then I played in, of course, the tournament. My first game was against Amun-Ra's. I dropped Heretic bump list into it. And it was against Brendan Shirley. He runs the L2 War Game podcast. He's a really good player. He usually makes it into the Invitational every year at Warmachine Weekend. Haven't played against him in forever. And it was a really good game. I got a little too close and a little too up into it. But he came in and assassinated Heretic. I didn't have enough to transfer. Second game was against a Convergence player. He's a little new. A guy named Jody. Really fun to play with. Really took time. Didn't worry about it. We even paused the clock because we didn't care. Good game. I won that one. Assassinated his caster. What else after that? Then I played my friend Hane from Little Rock, and he was playing Convergence also. And I won that on Death Clock. He took way too long. And if he would have moved up quicker, he would have just ripped. Because he was playing with 2 Teps, and I was playing nothing but an infantry army. And he would have just sprayed everything off the table. But it was good. It was a good event. I dropped out the last because we had an odd number of players, and so I dropped out to make them back even. Because the guy I was going to be playing was a guy I played once, twice, 3 times a week anyway. And I'm like, do you want to? I'm like, yeah, I'll just drop out. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not competing for prizes. $10 gift to game store, or, for 3rd place or whatever. I didn't care. Wasn't my big deal. But it was really fun. I saw some old friends, made some new ones, talked about Kings of War stuff, talked about building different armies. So, I mean, it was neat to see some of that stuff. People build their armies and how they built them with different models. And that's the reason why I saw the confrontation models. I was like, ooh, got to take a picture of those for Kathy. And then it was the werewolves. So, but yesterday was really, really fun. I had a blast. Old friends, new game, blah, blah, blah. Kathy, how was your week?
It was pretty quiet. We had our Monday night D&D game, and there was a death. It wasn't me. But the guy who died is one who manages to get killed multiple times. Like, I haven't died yet in this game. And he died once and became a vampire with one character. Then another character, he died and was then reincarnated by one of the other characters. And then almost died, and a god restored him to his original body, but now he is just died again. And this is all like.
At this point, the god's like, "Fuck it, I can't help you."
I'm just like, I don't know. When your first reaction when you go into battle as a wizard is, I'm gonna fly up and make myself a target.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can you do?
I love it when the wizard flies up and makes himself a target, because that means it's not me! There's an old saying, teamwork is essential. It gives them someone else to shoot at.
Yeah, you don't play cooperative games with this person. You don't play Zombicide with them. You don't play Descent. You don't play anything like that with this guy. He just doesn't know how to organize with other people. Yeah, Leroy Jenkins. Yeah. You know what? That's my job as a fighter. That's not the wizard's job.
He's diversifying.
I don't know what he's going to... I was so sad for him, though, when he died, because he's like, I just got to the level where I can do the wish spell, and he was all excited with his, the things he could do. We're playing 5th edition. Oh, and I'm all like, well, I'm kind of sick of my character. If I die, I don't care. I can play something else.
That's kind of how I am whenever I'm role playing. If I'm playing a character, if my guy dies, I'm like, okay, I don't have a problem with that because I'm an adventurer. I'm going on and doing dangerous stuff. I should expect myself to get killed every once in a while, or put myself in danger. I mean, it's kind of common sense. If you don't,
that's what you do.
And
the guy on my other side and he is definitely Leroy Jenkins. He's the guy who, if you give him a button, it doesn't even have to be red. He's going to push it a bunch of times until something bad happens.
Yikes.
He also dies a lot.
Which also, speaking of that, I did some role playing this week too.
Yeah?
This Wednesday. We'll talk about more in detail when we get into the podcast, but I did some role playing. It was actually really fun, and it felt like a good start to a movie. And we'll get into detail more about during the podcast right before we go to the media section. So,
Nice.
other than that, John, how would
Uh,
you it, good sir?
I also did some role playing or game mastering since it was Sewer Bear week, and we got that recorded. That'll go up sometime next week.
Sweet.
Good time. Very, very low end, mostly role playing. Lots of people doing ill advised things for fun and profit, I guess.
As well they should.
No, it's pretty funny. Interesting group dynamic. Had a good time. Also, the local guys. These are the guys I play 40K with, and had just jumped back into Warmachine. Spoiler there, jumped right back out of Warmachine. Just started to play Infinity again. In fact, one of them was like, "I'm out and never gonna play this game again. Here, I'm trading all my models to you for some old 40K stuff you have." Just messaged me on Facebook this week, like, "Yeah, do you have any of those models? I'd like to get some back." Which I find is hilarious. But so actually, I got. Go ahead.
I've heard good things about Infinity, but I haven't had a chance to play that one.
It is a game that the more you play, the better you're going to like it, but it is a steep learning curve because it is, I don't want to say necessarily complicated, but there's just a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about that this last week after our conversation with a couple other Infinity players. And one thing is, yes, it can be a stupid, complicated game, but you can also get around all that stupid stuff by not playing the really complicated stuff. Like, if you don't play a bunch of hackers and stuff, you don't have to worry about hardly any of that crap. I mean, you can just totally forget about it, and I'm going to play a bunch of guys that shoot and blow things up. You're pretty much solid, but if you start getting into all the hacking and everything, you're like, you better know your rules.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. The Space Wizards, or hackers, are complicated. A couple of rules interactions are a little counterintuitive, but once you start learning them, it's fine. There's a lot of fine points to it. It definitely is a game that, as you learn how the system works, it plays a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they got back into it, and I actually got a game of Infinity in today and had a great time.
It's good.
A lot of death and destruction. He squeaked out a win on the last turn because I couldn't quite kill everything I needed to. But it's a good balance of, things. He and I, one of them and I at least, both really like skirmish level games.
Mm-hmm.
And Infinity, like a large army in Infinity, and I mean like really large, it's like 20 models.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was playing 20 models, I had about 15, and we both have slightly larger forces, so... But no, it was a good time. Hopefully these guys stick with it for a bit, since I'm breaking that stuff back out too, in addition to the 40K and all.
On a hobby note, regarding Infinity, I really enjoyed putting together the couple of models that I did paint for somebody else. They were very clean and very easy to put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but they get a little complicated and a little fiddly because they're all metal. They're not going to go to anything else. So they have been going to some easier to assemble models here or there.
Well, they're really good models. I'm going to agree with you, but I'm also agreeing with John. They're fiddly because, like, I have a Telha army, and like the arms, my big fingers holding onto that little bitty arm to glue it in, and it's like it's a pain in the butt, but they still go together well. They're just. But
you know what's funny? Before I put together those Infinity things, and one was a tag, and the other one was just a little like 28mm guy,
mm-hmm.
and before that, I put together a whole team of Guild Ball butchers.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stab myself in the eyes multiple times putting those things together because it was awful. I mean, I could go on and on about that, but I won't right now. But so I finished those, and I started these Infinity things, and I was like, oh my god, they're like heaven compared to these other things. The filing mold lines, pinning parts, it just... everything went together so much better.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work to make their models fit together, right? With a lot of points where the arm comes in and it's got like a triangle, so it only fits one way. A lot
Yeah,
of stuff like that other companies should really learn from to make it easier to put models together.
Yep.
Because
definitely.
sometimes, Jeebus, it's a
When
pain.
all you have is just like a amorphous blobby shape that goes into a amorphous indentation. Uh,
We're
what do
talking
you
to
do
you,
with
Weird.
that? What do you even do with that weird, steam forged? I could go on.
Weird's got a lot better, but there's a period in most games where they hadn't quite gotten it together, where it's like, oh yeah, this is the period where they're like, yeah, we can just put this shit out there, people will be fine. And then they eventually get to, oh, okay, we need to change it up a little bit because people got the pitchforks and the torches out and they want to kill us.
There was confrontation stuff that was like that, and the pieces were so slender that if you tried to pin them, God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, some of the Infinity pieces are still like that, but that's been pretty good. The other thing they need to do is, I'm glad they've gotten mostly away from the tactical rock, because fuck the tactical rock.
Yep.
The tactical tech piece is way better, because if you make dirt bases, there can be a random piece of tech out in the middle of the forest.
Correct.
It is less likely for a random rock to be sitting there on your starship deck or space station deck or city street. Fuck.
Yeah, because there was one time, because like I said, I played Toha, and the sniper guy, I don't remember the name, has a piece of rock, and it's like this big, kind of looks like lava rock, so it's all porous and everything, and I'm like, okay, glad I'm going to do like a ground terrain instead of, the scientific terrain on it.
If we could do another show on conversions or bases, I might get some pictures out of my Infinity guys where I've cut the tactical rock off and done anything I can to get the model still on the base.
Oh, I had a different base that I put that one I was doing as a Pan-Oceanian something, and his one leg was bent, his knee was bent, like up, so he was standing on this thing, and I had to cut everything off and make a base so that it looked like he was still standing on this thing but wasn't leaning off to the side or whatever.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can turn those guys. I had one guy where I did that and just managed to get it, and his arms were posed just good enough, like across his chest with his gun, like this. I just had to cut his head off and repose it a tiny bit, so he looks like he's in the lean, like he's running.
Oh yeah.
But that's sometimes it's a pain. I would just rather them stick to no tactical rocks and make my life just a little bit easier to start.
Yep. Anybody do anything else interesting, fun? Try some new beer. Drink a little too much on Shiloh.
That sounds like maybe what you did. I didn't drink too much. I never drink too much. I drink just enough.
Who drank too much?
I didn't drink too much. I drank a lot. Quite a bit of beer. Quite a bit of beer yesterday. Because they don't... We're allowed to bring it in. We just have to,
Be responsible.
Be responsible. Hide it. Don't go around showing it. And pretty much it was... Hey, here's a growler of beer. Here's a couple of bottles of beer. And just kept drinking through the whole thing. Even one of them, it was recorded. And you can hear me go, "Hey, Chris, can you go get me a beer?" So it was quite a bit of drinking.
I mean, I drink during the role playing game, but I try and keep it to a reasonable amount, so I'm not being silly or too silly.
Oh, of course.
We rarely do. Every once in a while, somebody brings wine or something, which I think is weird, but for a role playing game. But that's what it is. We're high class.
Yeah, high class
Oh,
drinkers.
high class, huh?
High
Going with the
class
wine.
D&D.
High class D&D.
I'm pretty much the only... I mean, there are people who drink, but I'm the only one who really drinks. Which is funny since I'm the one running it, because if we get silly, then we get really silly.
Oh, yeah.
But let's be honest, they start it every time.
Oh yeah, it's all them. I'm sure.
Always the player's fault,
It,
never the DM
it
fault.
it is totally recorded. You can totally see the facts or hear them.
All right, I'll be listening into the next one. I'm judging.
You should definitely go back an episode and listen to. I think it was 17 because that's the sweet spot there.
That's where the wheels fell off.
Oh, I don't know if the wheels were ever really on, but they definitely they're definitely off at that point. So that was it. Yeah, it's been a reasonably slow week. I tried to get some more games in, but sometimes you get there and everyone's involved in a game, and by the time they're all free, you're like, "Oh, he cleaned up all his stuff when I was off chatting with somebody, and now he's like, oh, I don't really want to get it out again."
Yeah.
So that was Friday. I went out today and got a game in, but it's all good. I got to hang out with people, so
Oh yeah.
who really cares? Yes.
I was going to be playing the One Ring RPG with some friends. I have a friend who's been dying to run it, and that was at the house where my friend's kids were sick, so we had to cancel. So
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about the One Ring RPG, but when we do get to play it, I will talk about it.
I own that one.
Do you?
Yeah, it's really good. Which kind of leads in a segue of what we're going to talk about next week.
What are we going to talk about next week?
RPGs.
Role-playing games. Do you love them? Do you hate them? What's your favorite one? Why? And, what's your favorite class/race/
You're writing all those questions down because we're going to have to answer all those now. You just teased it.
No, I love the role-playing games, and like every other game, I don't get a chance to play it nearly as often as I like. Oh my god, Reed Bomb says paranoid. Like paranoia?
Yeah.
That's like a one-off, quick, fun game.
That's a good party. That's a good party role-playing game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you need to drink.
So definitely. So guys, so you know, our next episode is going to be about role-playing. John will be posting up some information about that after the podcast and putting it up. So we're going to get some questions from you. We're going to be releasing a lot of information, talking about a lot of different things on role-playing. So this is going to be our role-play episode. And I can't wait because I'm super nerded out about role-playing games. I own
And I'll see
way too many.
If anybody else knows anything about Pinnacle Games, Flash Gordon role-playing game, the Flash Gordon, the Savage Worlds game, I'd like to know more about that one.
Savage Worlds is an incredible system.
Didn't they still post about that on Drive-Thru RPG?
Yes, it came through Drive-Thru RPG. It came down to it.
Yeah, the Savage Worlds of Flash Gordon just came out.
Yeah.
And Savage Worlds is a great system.
It's funny because the 5th Ed D&D game that I play on Monday nights, our GM has been running us through. We've been on Mongo and off Mongo, like kind of going back and forth between our own world and Mongo, with Ming the Merciless as the evil emperor and everything, and rocket sleds and all this stuff, and it's been a lot of fun. And all my, my companions are like, oh my god, Mongo, where they hate magic users and I can't use my stuff and I have to be undercover. And I'm like, my quest in that game is to defeat Ming the Merciless, like with my bare hands. And everybody else just dreads going back to that planet. So, we hang out on our own world, postponing the inevitable thing that I know that the GM wants us to go and do.
If our PCs went to Mongo, I'm pretty sure one of them would defeat Ming with her bare hands. Somewhere my roommate is crying out in agony.
Bare hands?
Bare hands, yes. There've been a lot of jokes like that. I can't resist them.
So, we're going to be talking about...
They're barely funny.
Barely.
Hold on. Mute, John. Mute.
Good luck.
So, we're definitely going to be talking about RPGs next week. It's going to be our RPG episode. So, look on our Facebook page for a bunch of questions, answer a bunch of things. and get all
I think it
excited
was going to be a
about
bunch
it.
of questions. I think it was going to be you guys send us questions that we can answer for you.
Oh, there's going to be more than just that. There's
Oh,
going to be a
well.
ton of other things.
I'm only in charge of the getting them to ask us questions so we can answer them, because that's how you get good content.
Well, we're also going to
Hashtag
be...
flippity
Hashtag what?
blue. That's
So-
old school.
Oh, yeah.
Xander can't bear those puns, John.
That's right. They are unbearable.
Yeah. So we'll go over different settings and different games and our favorites and et cetera, et cetera. Other than that, guys, we'll go ahead and shut down early. Kathy's already peed, so she shouldn't have to go again. So should be back pretty quickly. So John might have to go refreshing his drink. So guys, we're going to shut down, bring it back up in about 3 minutes or so, and we will be good to go. See you in about 3 minutes.
See ya.